Hi, boys and girls. Welcome back to the Apocablog. Day 1448 of thinking that it's time to do the holiday recap. So YouTube scolds Americans for treatment of indigenous peoples. They, of course, because you have to attack American tradition. That's what we do to them. For Indigenous and Native Americans, the fourth Thursday of November is dedicated to Indigenous history, activism, and resistance. No one knows your history. Activism, I mean, I guess you did pretty well in that casino thing, so you got that going for you, which is nice. Resistance, how's that working out for you? And it's called Unthanksgiving. Well, that's fucking creative. Unthanksgiving is about acknowledging, educating, and honoring centuries of indigenous resistance. The Google-owned company explained, coinciding with New England's National Day of Mourning. For what? Unthanksgiving activates Alcatraz Island, the site of a 19-month occupation by Bay Area natives in 1969. So we ignored you for 19 months in 1969. When? Thanksgiving is about honoring Native American and Indigenous heritage. Don't know a damn thing about it. To better understand this history, could not give a fuck. How are you connected to and connecting with? I'm not connected to or with any of this bullshit. I was born in 1965. And with the indigenous heritage and history of where you live, I'm not. We just covered that. I mean, I guess if the local casino wants to throw some bucks at my mortgage, I'm happy to sit down and chat with them. But Senator Ed Markey is also jumping on the bandwagon. Of course, he's a Democrat from Massachusetts. He called for a recognition of the true history of Thanksgiving as atrocities committed against Native Americans via Twitter. While we celebrate all that we are grateful for today, clearly you're not, we must also remember the true history of Thanksgiving and recognize the atrocities committed against Native Americans. No, I don't need to recognize a motherfucking thing. That happened 400, 300 years ago, whatever the fuck it was. No fucks given, pal. Sorry. As well as the widespread disease brought by the European arrival, which decimated the native population. Have you been paying attention to the news lately? Because, you know that country, China, you've been covering for? Yeah, check it out. The Boston Globe jumped in, calling for a here we go. Let's go after the kids. A reframing of the Thanksgiving narrative on Wednesday, describing Native American struggles as rooted in environmental devastation and police brutality. Global warming and BLM. So that we can convince yet another generation of misguided fucking nitwit children that they are horrible people because of where they were born and more than likely the color of their skin, because the majority are still white. Sorry, them's the facts. Oh, and by the way, the white population just got much bigger because Asians are now labeled as white because they were fucking up that whole curve thing for minorities. Native Americans survived a genocide that no one gives a fuck about. According to the Globe, further advocates left-wing historical revisionism to be applied to primary school curriculum for all of the reasons we just enumerated. Speaking of our children, Vermont Governor Phil Scott is giving schools the green light to interrogate students about their Thanksgiving activities following the break. According to Scott, students or parents who admit to violating the state's holiday travel and gathering rules will be forced to participate in online school for 2 weeks, he announced on Twitter. The penalty will be reduced to 1 week if the students in question take a COVID-19 test. Okay, well, silver linings. At least our kids will be learning the value of lying to authority figures, and that's a plus. The earlier the better. So thanks for helping, Gov. But the attacks on our traditions weren't as weren't just verbal and through Twitter. Southern California Edison shut off the power to thousands of people on Thanksgiving just to, fuck you. So remember, kids, you don't always get the government that you want, but you always get the one that you deserve. You voted for that, California. Suck it up, Buttercup. And we're not done. It's not enough to fuck up Thanksgiving. These folks, these are some forward-thinking motherfuckers. Look at this guy. Government scientist. Kissing grandma at Christmas could deliver deadly dose of coronavirus. So we're already fast-forwarding a fucking month. And he's not alone. Doctor, fucking Keebler-ass clown, Anthony Fauci warns of bleak winter looking forward. But he's looking forward to Christmas in 2021. I'm going to hold a funeral for a fucking reindeer. Los Angeles County, look at this, amazingly. And right on top of that, Los Angeles County officials, that just fucked over a bunch of people, just issued a three-week stay-at-home order. Now, this comes around the same time that Great Britain just announced that they will probably be going into a 12-plus month lockdown. It's almost like it's not just a local or a national thing, but there's an international flavor of cooperation here. If anybody that's at Helen Keller level of paying attention. But there are some honorable mentions to some creative people that figured out some solutions to the adversities posed. California megachurches rebrand as family-friendly strip clubs to protest state's COVID-19 restrictions. 2 megachurches decided to open Sunday services with some safe-for-work joke strip teases in a cheeky protest against California's closing down churches due to COVID-19. Because strip clubs, not churches, are exempt from COVID lockdowns and are deemed essential by the governor. Look, folks. All you jackasses in politics, this is why we'll always win. We're smarter than you. But God bless them, doing what they love. And finally, GOP rep-elect has a creative way to bypass restrictions on gatherings for Thanksgiving. Rep-elect Lauren Boebert said that in Colorado, Thanksgiving is limited to 10 people, but funerals are limited to 30. So I'm going to have a peaceful funeral for a turkey and have about 30 people at my house. Good for fucking you. We'll save the rest for tomorrow. Look, kids, they can only do this with, again, it's the consent of the governed. If we agree to this, this is what we do. If we disagree, then we find creative ways to work around it, like the church, the churches and Lauren Boebert. So the Apoca recommendation to you is that you go and you patronize your local strip church and you have a reindeer fucking funeral on Christmas and you go about your fucking life, because every day on this earth, you're one day closer to no longer being on this earth. So think about that.